All right. Hello, everyone. Do you hear me? Okay. A warm welcome from my side to this presentation of transforming financial management, the journey of SV Group, digitalizing their financial processes with Odoo in 500 restaurants. I'm happy to see so many faces, even it's day 3. So you really have strong endurance, so thanks for that. I will talk today about SV Group, one of our clients, but first I will introduce myself quickly and introduce my employer BrainTech. Then I will introduce SV Group, so we all know what this client is about. Then I will explain the journey of SV Group working with Odoo. Then I jump into the core of this presentation, which will be the financial processes which we have implemented with Odoo in SV Group. Then a short outlook, and then as always, a short Q&A session. Good, I'm Damian Bürgin. I'm project manager and consultant, working for BrainTech since 5 years. I'm working with Odoo since 7 years almost now. First 2 years on client side, working with BrainTech and working with Odoo. And then I switched the sides because I was totally flashed by Odoo and BrainTech. So I started to working there. And yeah, this is since 5 years now. I'm very happy because I also have very cool projects, like for example SV Group. And before we jump into SV Group, I want to introduce also BrainTech quickly. So BrainTech is gold partner in Switzerland, Germany and Austria. We have meanwhile over 85 employees across 16 locations in 5 countries. We are founded in 2000 and we are partners since 2009. And meanwhile we are very proud that we have meanwhile implemented over 350 companies successfully with Odoo. And that's maybe one of the reasons we are 4-time Best Odoo Partner Europe winner last year. And yeah, we really push our clients to get Odoo know-how and to push them to the limits. And that's why we also have the most certified Odoo experts worldwide, and we are really proud of that. And we are fully dedicated to Odoo, so that means we are only implementing that software. And yeah, that's it. Then quickly introducing SV Group. SV Group is quite older than BrainTech because it was already founded in 1914. And SV Group is a leading hospitality and hotel management group in Germany and Switzerland. They have around 500 restaurants in that area and 23 hotels. And there are almost 6,000 employees. And the very impressive numbers, they are serving 26 million dishes every year. And they are committed to sustainable food and to healthy food. That's very important for SV Group. And I'm also very proud that the project is nominated for the Swiss Digital Economy Award in 2024. So this will be a ceremony in middle of November. So fingers crossed that we will win it because it's a really important prize and it would make us really, really proud. Good. SV's journey with Odoo. So it all began with the vision to replace their meal planning software with Odoo. What does it mean? The restaurants, they plan menus every day. So for example, I made a short prototype on that slide. You see menu 1, menu 2, and then the whole week you plan what you're going to offer in your restaurant. So for example, on Monday you offer nasi goreng, and then Tuesday spaghetti Napoli, etc. And based on that planning, there is an automated procurement process going on based on the stock availabilities. So Odoo checks what is in stock, and based on that, the whole procurement is started. And additional to that, also the menus are published on the website, so the guests can always check what is planned in that restaurant for that day. And yeah, that's a very cool feature with which we have started in SV Group. But this was meanwhile 4 years ago, and meanwhile we are here. So we are very proud that we have many more processes in Odoo in SV Group. So for example, the whole demand planning, what I have showed on the previous slide, we have meanwhile 300,000 menus which are planned per year. Then we have 7 million POS orders created. Why not 23 million POS orders as I said before, because we are not fully rolled out. So meanwhile we have 7 million POS orders. Then Odoo is the leading master data management system of SV Group. That means, for example, we are managing 7,000 recipes in Odoo, next to all other master datas. Then we have, we are managing the catering orders in Odoo. That means when someone wants to organize a party, then SV Group is offering a catering assortment. And here we have around 12,000 catering orders per year once it's rolled out. And last but not least, the financial services. So we have a lot of invoices, at the moment around 7,000, but it grows a lot. And exactly about that part I want to speak today. The financial services. So let's dive into it. So in order to understand the financial workflow, we need to understand the general data flow in an SV restaurant. So each of those hundreds of restaurants, they have of course cash registers, they have vending machines, and all those data are transmitted to Odoo, and out of here that process starts in terms of finance. And SV Group is using the POS module only in the back end at the moment, so that means the front end is not on Odoo. That's why we needed an interface to transmit those data. But once everything is in Odoo, the financial workflow starts. And the financial operations are based on 4 pillars in the restaurant. So first of all, the invoicing, as I said, creating invoices, credit notes, deferred expenses. Then the daily closure, because of course they need to post the turnover they have on a daily basis. Then a very important topic is the cash management. A lot of cash is handled in a restaurant, so they needed a tool to track it. And then of course a reporting function to give the best possible reportings to the restaurant manager. And exactly based on those 4 pillars, I will go through the presentation now. So let's start with the invoicing. So why is invoicing such a big topic in SV Group? As you can imagine, very often you pay with credit card, you pay with cash on the POS, maybe you have a voucher. But in such employee restaurants, it's very important that they also offer batch payments. So that means the employee has a batch, and with that batch you can pay, and afterwards you get the invoice, or sometimes your employer pays a percentage of your menu. So for example, when for an external guest a meal costs 15 euro, maybe the employee only pays 5 euro, so the difference is always invoiced to the employer. And that's a very important business model for SV Group, and that's why we had to handle that in the invoicing process of SV Group. So what does it mean? Before we implemented Odoo, there was a lot of manual work. Out of the POS, the point of sales, they created POS reports, and out of these POS reports, they had to manually create thousands of invoices. Not each restaurant manager per month, of course, but hundreds of invoices per restaurant manager, and this took a ton of time. And I think we all agree, it's better when the restaurant manager manages his clients and his guests, instead of sitting alone in the office and creating those exhausting invoices by hand. And that's why we implemented a job which creates those invoices automatically. So what does it mean? Out of the POS, POS orders are created in Odoo, and in a monthly job, the job goes through all those POS orders, and the ones which needs to be invoiced are created automatically. And as a result, always on the first day of the month, the restaurant manager starts his laptop or his computer, and there are already all invoices created. So this saves a ton of time for them, which I said before he can use to manage his clients. And that job, which creates those invoices, is a really powerful tool, because you can configure it based on the requirements of the client. So if someone wants to have more details on his invoice, you can configure that. If you want to group some lines based on taxes, etc., which is a requirement in that business, you can do that with that job. And this is really a tool which saved a lot of time for SV Group in terms of invoicing. And next to the POS workflow, invoices are also created out of many other data sources. And we have data coming from web shops, also from SAP. We have workflows which needs to be invoiced in Odoo. And then of course we also use sale orders for catering in Odoo Standard. And we are also using the subscription tool. And out of these workflows we have 14 different invoice types, which are considering access rights, workflows, reportings, you name it. Yes, and then about the second pillar, which is the daily closure. So the daily closure is very similar to the invoicing process. What does it mean? At end of each day, they created POS reports out of the point of sales, and they had to type in manually the sales figures. And compared to the invoice, they had to do that on a daily basis. So you can imagine how exhausting and time-consuming that work was. And we are very proud that we also could help here with Odoo. And here we are almost fully in Odoo Standard, because the POS orders which were created out of the point of sales are collected like Odoo Standard works in POS sessions, and those POS sessions are posted either with a night job directly, or they can post it manually. But everything is in place, everything is already in the system, and you just have to post them, or as I said, the job will do it for you. So here we have a second extreme time saver for those restaurant managers, and this was exactly the goal of digitalizing those workflows. Then the third pillar is cash management. A very exciting topic, and also a very important topic for SV. As you can imagine, there's a lot of cash going around in a restaurant, because you have a lot of point of sales. So of course you have the cash register, but you also have selling machines, and then you have batch charging machines on which you are charging your batch to pay afterwards on the point of sale. And then you also have safes where you store that cash. And all those cash balances are meanwhile managed in Odoo. And that's super cool, because Odoo shows at every time what the target cash stock is in a restaurant. And that means on a weekly basis, Odoo creates cash countings. So that means when a restaurant manager goes to the office on Monday morning, Odoo has already created such a counting in draft. So that means Odoo tells the restaurant manager, you have so much cash on hand, please prove it. Count it and prove it. And based on that, you can see who has big differences in cash. I illustrated that with the red crosses here. Or maybe a restaurant has almost never differences, as you can see in on the green boxes. And based on that, you can really well track your restaurant manager, who is handling his cash accordingly. And this is very important also to prevent fraud as far as possible. And this is also a very important tool for SV, which was the third pillar we have implemented during the financial workflows. And then last but not least, reporting. We use the Odoo Standard reporting functions. So for example, the pivot tables. And SV Group is using Odoo 15 at the moment. So the cool dashboards which came afterwards are not in place at the moment. But besides that, anyway, we had to implement the tool to also show data from the other systems. As I showed before, also SAP is an important software for SV Group. And also here we have a lot of data which needs to be provided to the restaurant managers. So we have implemented an iframe in order to show BI reports, and those data are coming from everywhere. A lot of data obviously come from Odoo, but also from web shops, from SAP, from other systems, and all is embedded in a nice looking dashboard, so the restaurant manager has really everything on hand. And this helps them a lot to track their progress and how they're performing. Yes, and finally a short outlook. Where is SV Group going? So we started everything in Switzerland because the headquarters is also in Switzerland. And yeah, now we're heading to Germany. So very exciting times because we have again hundreds of restaurants in Germany too. So we will organize the rollout now to bring everything to Germany. And I'm really, really looking forward that also a migration to version 18 is planned next year. So yeah, we will benefit of the cool features which Fabian has presented 2 days ago. So we're really looking forward for that. Yeah, that's it. Here again the QR code in order to ask questions if you have some. And otherwise, I already say a big thank you for joining, and I hope you liked it. Thanks. Hi.
Let's give the people some time for some questions. How does such a big rollout look like? Any advice?
Yeah, don't do all at once. It's maybe a good advice. So SV Group is managing that very well. They start normally with 1 or 2 restaurants to roll out, which are pretty similar in terms of the scope, in terms of the size. And then they go more and more into restaurants which are offering more services and are therefore also a bit more complex. And yeah, you start with maybe 1 or 2 restaurants, and then the batch gets bigger and bigger. And then at the end, you maybe go with, I don't know, several hundreds at once when you're sure the processes are running well.
Yes. All right. Why SV Group? Why is SV Group not working with Odoo POS? Any plans to switch to POS from Odoo?
So basically, it's not really true that they're not working on POS. They're only not working on the front end of Odoo POS because the back end is a really, really important tool for them, and we are benefiting a lot of the Odoo core processes of the Odoo POS module. But yeah, to be honest, it was never in scope. We started with Odoo version 12, if I remember correctly, and at that moment, Odoo was not ready to provide 500 restaurants with an according POS front end. And my personal opinion, if Odoo develops in the same speed as every year, because the point of sale is developing very, very fast, and I think one day we will probably have a chance to step in and to prove that Odoo can maybe also help SV Group with the front end. Would be great. Would be great.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge during the implementation of these finance workflows?
I think the biggest challenge was, I mean, the accounting in Odoo is implemented for accountants, of course, which is totally correct. But we had to provide those accounting workflows to restaurant managers, and those restaurant managers are mainly cooks. They're really good in cooking, but they are no accountants. So we even had to simplify everything a little bit to provide to the restaurant manager a tool which they learn very quick, and for which they don't have to use too much time. So we had to adapt the accounting user interface a little bit, and this was a bit a challenge, also in terms of access rights and stuff. But yeah, I would say that, yeah.
All right. Do you face performance challenges, and how do you overcome them?
Yeah, we face performance challenges. Yeah, normally we tell SV Group just to report us when they see that the system gets slower, and then we try to solve it. And we are very happy that we have a dedicated team in BrainTech only working on performance issues, and they could always help. And therefore, yeah, because we have a lot of data going through Odoo, and yeah, but we're happy that we also have the tools to solve it.
Do you have an EDI invoicing in place?
Yes, we have. We have an EDI connector. That's the BrainTech module, which we can use to configure everything and to send out EDI invoices as well. And it's a really cool tool. And yeah, if you're interested or if someone is interested, please reach out to BrainTech. We are happy to share it.
How does the deployment process look like in such a big project?
That's a good question. We deploy 2 times per week. So this is this is very often compared to other projects. But we have unit tests in place and everything, we feel safer if we know that we don't deploy at once so many new tasks, just always some of them, because when we have an issue we can quickly react and know exactly what was deployed. So I think this is 100% the right strategy for SV Group in terms of deployments.
Why is SV not doing the BI in SAP?
The BI in SAP? That's a good question, but maybe not for me. What I know is they have a BI team which are collecting data from everywhere, also from SAP. And that BI, of course, is a known software. It's not managed in SAP, it's not managed in Odoo. They're just collecting everything. And why it's not on SAP, I don't know. I know why it's not on Odoo, because we didn't have the dashboards in place in version 15. But why it's not on SAP, I don't know.
That's
okay.
Okay. That's it for the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you.